Hello, the date is the 28th of March. I have some personal information to share because I am concerned about the vaccination programme and I feel I need to speak out. So please bear with me as it's important. Sadly, my dad unexpectedly died at the end of January. He died of heart failure. Less than 24 hours before my dad had his first heart attack, he was given the Pfizer vaccination. I would like to point out that prior to his vaccination, my dad was a very fit and healthy 76-year-old man. He did not smoke, he drank very little alcohol, he exercised daily, he had never been into hospital before, and there is no history of heart disease in his family. He had his vaccination on Saturday the 23rd of January. Less than 24 hours later, he was suffering with what he thought was indigestion in his solar plexus, lack of energy and loss of appetite, and was struggling to sleep. His symptoms continued until the following Wednesday. He was advised by a GP over a phone call consultation that he was likely to be experiencing some side effects from the vaccination and to call back in a couple of days if there was no improvement. My sister visited him later that day and called 111 because his pulse rate was 122 and he was now having difficulty breathing. He was taken to out-of-hours emergency services for a consultation where an ambulance was called and he was taken to A&E with suspected pneumonia. He had a negative COVID test in hospital. We received a phone call at 1 a.m. on Thursday morning after his blood results to tell us that my dad had had a substantial heart attack on Sunday. At 3:30 a.m. we had another phone call and we were told that my dad had had a second heart attack in A&E. He had now gone into heart failure and we should attend the hospital as soon as possible. The cardiologist at the hospital was very confused as to why my dad was not responding to the treatment he had been given. He said he was the fittest 76-year-old he had ever seen. His heart was very badly damaged from the 2 heart attacks, his kidneys had failed and devastatingly there was nothing the hospital could do for him. We sat with my dad for 33 hours. He fought until the end and peacefully passed away on Friday the 29th of January. We reported my dad's death to the MHRA. This information regarding a possible death from a Pfizer vaccination was reported to what is called the Yellow Card Scheme by the MHRA on the government website. It was reported on the 9th of February. The government also have a Black Triangle Scheme, which is the continued monitoring of medicines with a Black Triangle status. The vaccines which are currently being used to vaccinate the population against COVID-19 have a Black Triangle status, which is in place to signify medicines that are subject to intense monitoring. The symbol is not removed until the safety of the drug is well established. Because the COVID-19 vaccines are labelled with a black triangle, the government website advises that all adverse reactions occurring in individuals of any age after vaccination should be reported to the MHRA using the Yellow Card Scheme. Not many people know about these schemes. So to clarify, our report was sent on the 9th of February, yet it has taken 6.5 weeks for the MHRA to respond and ask for further information. So one of 2 things are happening here. Either the MHRA are inundated with ADRs, adverse drug reactions, and it's taken them weeks to read through all of the reports, or there is serious negligence on their behalf in following up and investigating vaccination reaction reports, including a report of a possible serious adverse event, i.e. a death. So what is confusing me is that the government are vaccinating millions of fit and healthy people. Children are taking part in clinical trials here in the UK with discussions of vaccinating children as early as August. Pfizer have announced that they are starting clinical trials in America on children as young as 6 months old and consider the trial a crucial step towards curbing the coronavirus pandemic. Discussions are in place with indications of a vaccine passport system that will undoubtedly discriminate against people who do not want to participate in this vaccination programme. And the media are labelling people who do not want to take part in the vaccination programme anti-vaxxers and anti-vaxxer activists to anyone that speaks out, which will ultimately cause a massive divide in society. This is all very concerning for me when our report of a possible serious adverse event, i.e. a death, has not been acknowledged by the MHRA for 6.5 weeks. The MHRA are not adhering to, and I quote, the additional proactive safety monitoring plan for all COVID-19 vaccines to enable rapid analysis of safety information, which is important during a pandemic. Yet our government continues to mass vaccinate the UK population. This vaccine has emergency approval only by the MHRA, as do all of the vaccines. It has temporary authorisation, and it states on the government website that it should be noted that the COVID-19 mRNA vaccine, Pfizer, remains under review, as does the AstraZeneca vaccine. The MHRA have left a report of a possible serious adverse reaction to a vaccine resulting in death ignored for 6.5 weeks. Thank you for listening.